Hello, happy Tuesday. And so we just got done with federal court. And so I want to kind of give you guys an update about what happened. I'm reporting live from my piano studio. So I'm using tech to my advantage and being able to work on the road and kind of bring this information to you guys. So there was some fireworks today. So there's some things that we definitely need to talk about when it comes to what is happening up there in federal court, some stuff that we need to really prepare ourselves for. And so I don't want to take too much time tonight, but I want to really cover a lot of stuff that we're going to be focusing on. And so part of that is we have to understand, you know, what's at stake here. And so what's at stake is obviously the permit to purchase. We're going to have a permit to purchase if this thing goes into effect. The state of Oregon does not have a program ready to go. And so that's going to be a problem going forward. And so what else is at stake is also magazine capacity. The fact that an arbitrary number at 10 rounds was set in 1994 and now is still relevant to this day is a problem. And so that's kind of what we're looking at. We could really use a good ruling out of California that would kind of help our case here, but ultimately we're on our own until that happens. And so, I'm going to kind of paint the picture today. I'm going to try to keep it as brief as I can, but also give you guys all the pertinent information. So if you guys can hear this, please let me know. If you guys are seeing the stream, please comment, let me know, because obviously working remotely, I don't know if everything's working the way I need it to work. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And so I appreciate you guys kind of following along. And so what I want to do is give you guys probably the most up-to-date information when it comes to Measure 114. And excuse me. And so this is stuff that you're not going to get in the media. This is stuff that you're going to get firsthand information, from me being inside the courtroom. And this is something that is obviously important to me. And so I've been part of this process since the beginning. And I'm going to continue to do so. And so today we're going to be broadcasting into the group. We're also broadcasting to my public page that can be shared. So if you have people that are not part of our group, you guys can share this in your own. And this is going to be the most up-to-date information, probably is straight from the sources you're going to get. And this is stuff that's going to counter what the media is saying. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be very truthful with you guys. I'm going to protect the information that I need to protect. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sell you a fake bill of goods. And I think, we're going to have to be honest with each other tonight and have a very, very, difficult conversation about what this looks like in the big picture and in the short time. And so I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you, what's happening and what this kind of looks like. I want to paint this picture for you. And, from the beginning of this, I knew this was going to be a fight. I knew that this was going to be something that was going to not happen in a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year. It could be 5 years. It could be 10 years, the way this stuff works. And so I'm not going to sell you something that's not going to, I want to give you hope, but I also want you to be prepared for if something doesn't go in our favor. And to be honest with you, the way things are going, this is not going in our favor. And the reason I say that is we have our and I got approval to say this stuff, is our game plan here is to know that this whole system is stacked against us, right? This whole system, we have outside money. They're paying attorneys, that we have an army of attorneys that are working against our attorneys. I'm in there, there's over 20 different legal staffs in very, very capacity that are actively working either for us or against us. And when I say against us, it means they're using our tax dollars. They're being funded that way. They're also being funded with private money as well. I'm working on getting all this information so I can present it to you guys, so you guys can see everything that I'm seeing, in firsthand. And so that's what's really, really important. And so I have to be honest with you. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to paint this picture where we're going to get as much information as we can on the record. And the reason we're going to have it on the record is because we have a judge that really is not our friend. And this is a very, she's not our friend. She's not a friend of gun owners. And so it's just her job, right? And her job, and it's her upbringing, it's her experience. And I can't fault her for that. And she can only, rule on the information that she has presented on both sides. And she has to make this determination. Is this facial? Is this, constitutional? Is this stuff that can proceed because of the information that was presented? This is the way this whole process is working. And, so we've had some great testimony on our side, scored some, and I'm taking notes. I'm writing down pertinent information. So stuff that was brought up in the trial that I can use here to tell you guys, but I'm also taking notes of what the judge's reaction is to this situation. I'm watching her heavily. Is she taking notes? Is she acting like she's engaged in, on either sides when it comes to the plaintiffs that were, or the expert witnesses that were presenting? And so, is she engaged? Is she believing what they're saying? I mean, is this stuff that's helping influence her decisions? And so, a lot of what I'm doing, that's the benefit of me being in the room, is when you're watching this stuff online or at home, like, you get like a certain degree of the whole story. And so my goal about being in the room is I want to be able to paint this picture for you and let you know that, this is what this looks like. This is, in reality, we're going to lose. But if we set it up, we're going to set it up for the next court. And so what that means, we're going to take it out of her court, and we're going to go to the Ninth Circuit. And that's what will be the next step for this. It could take years. Okay. Literally depends on the court docket. So there's lots of maneuvering there. From there, if either we defeat it or it gets moved to the Supreme Court. This is all stuff that can happen. And so I want to be very, very honest with you, this is setting ourselves up for the long term. And, it's very easy to get defeated in the short term. I get it. I totally understand. This whole inconvenience, because that's truly what it is. I mean, it's cost us a whole bunch of money. It's restricted our rights. And it hasn't done anything to actually improve the safety of the state. And we've spent millions of dollars at this point. And, so that's kind of where I'm at, and I hope this stuff, and the stuff I'm going to share with you tonight, I hope it doesn't put you in a place where you're going to check out. Because, this fight is far from over. And, that's why I say, this stuff is something that it's going to be, we got to look at it in the long run, and we got to look at it as a generational fight. And I know it's not easy to do so, but this is kind of where we're at. And so we have to understand, and I'm glad you guys can hear me. I don't know if anybody else is, I'm having issues with the signal, so I don't know if it's coming through or not. It's kind of the nature of the beast being on the road. Obviously you can see I have a beautiful background here, but I want to touch base about today. And so about today. So it started off, we had a little bit of maneuvering in the beginning because, once courts adjourned for the day, that's when all the different orders and all this other maneuvering happens between the different, sides of this case. We have 4 cases that are running concurrently together and so there's so many moving parts, and this is a very, very complex situation. And a lot of it's by design, because they're hoping that things are going to fall through the cracks, that they're going to allow that this stuff is going to stick for the time being until it is appealed. And that's what's going to happen. No matter what happens, like if we win, they're automatically going to appeal. If they win, we're automatically going to appeal. So either way, this thing is going to be appealed. There's no way around this thing not going to the next court, which is the Ninth Circuit. And so that's something that I really want us to kind of focus on is the long game here. And what it would do is if we set ourselves up, that's going to put us in a better position for the appeal. And that's what our strategy has been. And I think it's a very, very smart strategy. Obviously what I'm trying to do with you guys is just obviously give you guys the information that I can give you that's relevant. And obviously I don't want to give you any smoke and mirrors. But I also want you guys to kind of know the truth. and what's happening. And so, so it started off in the morning. There was some maneuvering. From that, we had, Damian Bunting, he was first up, and he had very powerful testimony. And he described his situation as private security guard. And so there was some, and, in the notes that I took from his testimony, obviously there's a lot of experience, the magazine capacity ban, which they're trying to do and restrict his ability to defend himself. That's going to be a big issue for him if this Measure 114 goes into effect. And the downstream effect of that is it's also going to make, the public that he protects in jeopardy, and it's going to be harder for them to do their job. And so, part of you see those cat-like reflexes. Holy crap! I just almost launched my mouse off the screen there. So that was, and I caught it. So wake up. So, that's kind of where I'm at. So back to his testimony. So I apologize for that. I talk with my hands, so sometimes I kind of get crazy. And so he has some really good stuff, really powerful stuff. This is the first time, like, I've gone to all these different trials. I watch a lot of testimony. This was the first time that I actually saw the cross-examination end because of an expert witness. And or a plaintiff. He's actually a plaintiff in this situation. And so the way he shut down the cross-examination was really brilliant. And, they brought up his tweets. They brought up his history. That's the one thing about this stuff is if you're going to, and this is my advice, you ever want to be a plaintiff, there's a lot of people that say, hey, I want to help out. What do I do? You got to look in your background. Okay. They're going to do a deep dive into who you are as a person, and they're going to use that against you. So, you got to be really, really squeaky clean if you're going to ever be a plaintiff. And so, and that's part of our job is to kind of, and when I say our job, I mean our side. And they're going to interview. They're going to make sure you're a good person to be up there. And so that's part of this process. And, from there, he held his own. He did a really good job. And I really appreciated the stuff that he talked about. It's not easy to do. As we can tell, it's not easy to, testify under oath in a courtroom when this is not something you do all the time. Obviously we had expert witnesses yesterday. We had, Ashley Hiblinski, we had Mark Hanish, and they are professionals and they do a tremendous job representing us and gun owners and the industry. And so, that's the difference. People that are new to this, are not experienced with this, and that other side, when they're doing that cross-examination, that's part of the game, is they want to exploit those and figure out these gaps. And so then they can, obviously make that person on the stand look bad in front of the judge. And so a lot of this stuff is gamesmanship. A lot of it is ego. It's, a lot of these high power attorneys are strutting around like peacocks in the courtroom. There's a lot of dramatics, I get it. I respect the profession because it's something that's needed, but I'm just an average guy, so I'm not a scholar or, a lawyer, but I play one here for you guys. And so I've learned a lot through this process, right? So I play an attorney on Facebook. So, and that's what I do. So, we talked about how the magazine capacity ban is going to affect him. He had some really, good stuff on Twitter that they tried to use against him. He was able to circle back on them, and it was brilliant. I was really, really proud of him. And so that's kind of where we're at. So, from that, there was a guy that I'm probably going to butcher his name, but he was from the NSSF. And so he provided very good, industry testimony when it comes to what's happening. Talked about how many, standard capacity magazines. Obviously, they talked large capacity magazines heavily today. I don't talk that. I talk standard capacity, AR-15, Glock 17, come with standard capacity of 17 or 30 rounds. And that is standard. And so that's what we talk. Mark did a really good job of kind of explaining that yesterday. And so today with NSSF, they led off with after Damian and talked about that and how much, how many of these magazines we have in circulation. Obviously, he brought the fact that they're thinking of 106 million. I've seen estimated reports of over half a billion of these magazines with 40 million rifles in our country. So I saw a study at Alabama. I think it was maybe Alabama, but it was something along those lines. I do a lot of reading, so that's how I get better at what I do. Is I study a lot and I learn a lot. That way I can give you guys the best information that I can. And I hope this is all making sense, because I'm not getting any comments, you guys. And part of this is with these algorithms. The way this message gets out is you guys got to respond. You guys got to be a part of this. This is the whole benefit of the live stream that gets out to more people, is like, comments, shares, and that's what this message gets out to. And so that's what's really, really important to do. Is if you guys are watching this, and obviously I'm watching my personal page, and it's just, it is what it is at this point. I don't want to take too much more of your time. I just want to touch base on really the most important part. I'm going to follow up with my written thoughts about today, and what I saw, and I appreciate that. I mean, it's just, I had some good conversations today, and I'm trying to obviously make sure that my words, when I put everything in writing, they make a little bit more sense, and I'm able to focus a little bit better as opposed to some of the stuff. And so, your support through this has been really the motivating factor. Is people that appreciate the service that I bring to them and are part of this process. And I met a lot of great friends, and one of the friends that I met, this time in Portland is Brad, and Sheriff Brad, and he's from Sherman County, and he's one of the plaintiffs. And talk about a tremendous sheriff. And I'm so lucky to have met him, and I have a friend and somebody that I can trust in law enforcement, that I can use as an asset. And I really appreciate people that share this stuff, because I work really, really hard to make sure this stuff is accurate. It's stuff that it's going to help make you better at what we do. And so that's kind of the thing here is we have to understand, where we're at and where we're going. And so, from once we're done with the NSSF, that's where, we took a quick break, and that's when the other side started. And so tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go have dinner with a buddy. But I'm going to put together a bio of the people that testified today. And I want you to see how your money's being spent when it comes to expert witnesses from the state of Oregon. And I feel this is going to go hand in hand with the Freedom of Information Act requests that I've already put out. And I want you guys to see this, because this is part of this picture, is all of the stuff that's happening in the dark, that's all public related. This stuff needs to come to the light. The fact of the matter is that we're spending we're probably over $2 million in defense right now on both sides when it comes to Measure 114. And we're not a single place closer to either having something implemented because it's unconstitutional, or saving a single life. And so that is something that, I have a really big problem, because this is a waste. This is taking resources away from our sheriffs, especially rurally. It's also taking away resources from mental health, where we really should be focusing is mental health. And so, that's something that we really should focus on, is the mental health aspect of this. Also, enforcing the laws that we have in the books. We have 22,000 laws across the country already. Why aren't we focusing on those? And if we started enforcing and adding penalties for people that are committing crimes with guns, we would see this issue, start working in a way that it needs to go. And that's towards reducing people being hurt with a firearm. That's, I work very, very hard as an educator, that I don't ever want to see anybody get hurt with a firearm, whether it's suicide or homicide, or a kid. I don't want to see any of that. I work really, really hard, and part of doing that is being able to be an advocate for all gun owners. And so that's truly my motivating factor here, is to give you guys the information so you guys can be better at what we're trying to do. And so that's the thing. And so I'm going to keep all this stuff, going. So we had, Dr. Lewis Clarvis. I'm probably going to butcher. I'm going to put together his bio. I'm going to put together all their bios. A lot of their expert witnesses that were supposed experts when it comes to gun policy from around the country. The common theme here was a political science background. Okay, so these people got into the situation with guns and gun policy after already having a political science background. So if we can all look at this and say that's probably not really the person that we want to be up there on the stand testifying against us when it comes to our gun rights. And so that's not the background that we should be looking at. But that's what, the state of Oregon, they're doing a really good job of painting this picture. And so they're selecting who they want to tell this story. And that's why they're very, very smart. This is 4D chess at its greatest. And, so that's kind of where I'm at. And so, that's kind of the things going forward. There was a lot of talk about, mass killings, mass shootings, the way all the data that, all these testimonies that they gave today, everything painted this picture of how the semi-automatic rifle's bad, how a 30-round magazine is bad. And that's all the information they brought on their side. And the problem I have with that is it's not 100% accurate information. The reason I say that is because they're talking about mass shootings like this is something that happens every day in our society. Obviously, we don't want to see shootings. That's not what I'm advocating here. What I'm saying is we can't say that the sky is falling when the sky is not entirely falling because of, there's less than 400 people a year that are killed with rifles, semi-automatic rifles. And so, that's something to think about is obviously we don't want to see anybody hurt. But we have to focus on the right thing. We're not focusing on the right thing. Taking away my ability to defend myself, taking away your ability to defend yourself is not going to move this needle in a way that we need it to move. And this is going to continue. It's just, we're going to be tied up in court. And so that's the only thing I can really, this here, that's, I would agree with that. I believe the political science major, that's typically, one of them was at UC Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley. The other guy was Cornell. One guy was at Yale. These are high dollar expert witnesses, like high dollar, but they're going to have that single opinion. The one guy that was testifying at the end, and which I don't want to talk too much about it because he's still testifying. He's still going to be under oath when we show up tomorrow morning. But he was talking about, he was getting all of his information from his peers, and I guarantee it was his peers that he agreed with. And so there's certain information that he wasn't getting until he was opened up to this other part of the firearms industry. So I'm like, they came after our witness Ashley yesterday and tried to discredit her, yet this guy, the glaring bias is up there on the stand right in front of the judge. And so, and this is stuff you're not going to get in the media. You're going to get, if you read Oregon Live, like I set up our Google alerts, if I set out a Google alert, you're going to get 10 different stories saying that these expert witnesses, they performed valiantly. They told about the carnage of our street. I don't even know what they're saying. They're going to say, but I guarantee it's going to be along those lines. They're going to paint this emotional picture to grow the support from the local communities that they're doing the right thing to justify the millions of dollars they're spending to try to take away your rights. And so I can already see there's going to be 10 stories out. They're all going to be regurgitated. They're all going to be changed a little bit. It's all going to be the same gist where 30-round mag's bad, AR-15's bad. We need to get rid of them all. And so, that's kind of where I really need to push back here. And that's why this stuff that I'm putting out to you guys is really, really important. Is this stuff is pure. This stuff is, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm not going to, in reality, we are going to lose. And this is by design, and it's going to cost us a lot of money. And so, but it's going to set it up for the next court. And so that's what we have to do. And part of this stuff is, and with the legal stuff that I'm learning, is we have to, get stuff on the record. And we have to build a case that's going to be part of the record, that's going to follow, like everything we've been doing in the legislature. Everything, like when we write testimony, it becomes, and we submit it to OLIS, it becomes part of the record. It's going to follow that bill wherever it goes. Okay. Same thing here. And so, we have to be patient. The one thing I would advise here. Okay. So this is, let's talk about action items, things that we can do today. So what we need to prepare ourselves for is for a loss. Okay. One thing that we have, our saving grace, is going to be the Harney County. Okay. So we have, I believe it's the 17th, 18th. It's in that week of September. That's when we're going to be in Harney County. Okay. And so we have until, obviously, when the trial ends, there's going to be a lull because we're waiting for her decision. Okay. Depending on her decision is whether this thing, obviously a TRO is going to go into effect. It's still going to stay in effect because there is nothing, the judge cannot overturn that because of her position. Okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to have to appeal it. It's going to have to go and start the process in the higher court. Okay. And then part of what's going to happen is we have to get our houses in order. Okay. So if there's a gun that we need or we want for our self-defense, we need to be making these purchases now. Okay. So we need to go to local shops, support local shops, ones that are either doing the three-day rule or ones that are calling in the background checks. Okay. I highly encourage you, like starting today. I had a conversation a little bit yesterday with Kevin Sterrett, and that was kind of his advice. Okay. Our action items is, if there's anything you want to make a purchase on, let's get on that. Okay. That's really, really important because we don't know what's going to happen. Okay. Another thing we want to be mindful of is we need to help out Oregon Firearms Federation. Okay. We need to donate money to them because they're the ones that are doing the fighting. There's other attorneys that are involved. Obviously there's other plaintiffs. There's I need to figure out, what role they have before I'm really going to send resources their way and direct resources that way. But I'm going to make sure that we're going to take care of the local organization first. Okay. Because really the best impact we're going to get is with our local orgs. And so, that's the thing. Good. So the state of Oregon, the Oregon State Police has started a new system. Some people are getting automatically in. Some are going into the queue. The problem is, don't let it go over the 30 days. Okay. Do not let it go over 30 days. Okay. Make sure and build a relationship with those FFLs. We're going to need FFLs throughout this process. No matter what happens, we're going to need people to be able to transfer guns. So support those small shops. Obviously, support the shops that are going to help you with this process and have good customer service. Okay, we want them. We want them to celebrate. Okay, and survive. Right, and so. That's the thing, is we have to understand this is we're fighting a long-term game with, the dark forces, and dark forces, they have endless amounts of resource. They have funding from Bloomberg. They have Everytown. I think one of the most difficult things for me is today, I saw Senator Lisa Reynolds come to court, and she was one that was very vocal against our rights on, Senate Bill 2005, also Senate Bill 348. She's affiliated with Moms Demand Action, right? She's worn the red shirt. She, celebrates them on the floor of the Senate, and she was there, taking notes. She actually wanted to take pictures of these slides because she wanted to use it to her own selfish advantage. The problem I have with her being there is she has spent the last 3 to 4 weeks demonizing the Republican senators that are denying quorum, yet she's using that opportunity to deny quorum to go further her agenda to take away your rights. I have a big problem with that. Okay. I think that's very hypocritical. The fact that you're telling those senators that they have work to do, they should be in Salem doing the work of the people, yet you're not there. You're taking advantage of that situation to further your political agenda. And I have a real problem with that. And so you guys, if you're in her district, Lisa Reynolds. I think she's Hillsborough. She's up in this area. You guys should be blowing up her phone. You guys should be sending emails to let her know that that's not okay. You're not representing the people. You're representing who you want instead of everyone. And so, that's the problem that I have with this situation is you see the most ugly part of society in this situation because everybody wants to win, whether it's our side, their side. We all want to win because we think that what we're doing is morally righteous, right? And I know from a historical standpoint that we are on the right side of history here. It's just going to take time for that to happen. And so we have to understand, what that looks like in the long term. And in the short term, it's going to be uncomfortable. I'll tell you that. And so, really, really encourage you if you're going to make a purchase. I know things have gone up, with the cost of living, inflation, I get all of that. And so, absolutely right here, fight forward. Absolutely fight forward. And that's what we're going to do. Shall not be infringed is being infringed on every day. Okay. So we cannot hang on those words. As much as we love and respect those words, every day they are infringing. So we have to better our position by fighting forward. And we do that by making sure that we fund our lawsuits, we fund our attorneys, because this is how we're going to get these wins. And so that's the only thing I can advise. My two takeaways from here. I'm going to get off here. And so I'm going to leave you with this. Okay. So tomorrow's going to be a new day. I'm going to be there. I have to leave early, so I'm hoping I'm going to have coverage that it's going to help, take over for me. I'm going to be there. I have to leave early afternoon to go south. And so, I'm going to give you all the information I get, and I'm going to keep you in the loop, because this stuff is, I wouldn't have this position and be doing what I'm doing if I didn't have your ear. And so, your support, your thoughts and your prayers and everything like that goes into helping keeping me going. So I'm gonna stay tuned. I'm gonna put my thoughts on paper when I'm digitally, of course. I'm gonna do a post talking about what we're looking at, and so I'm gonna put that here. It's gonna be a little bit different than what I posted yesterday. And the whole point is I want you guys to be aware of what's happening and where we're at, and things I want you to anticipate. I want you to anticipate, because I don't want this to be a shock for you. I want you to understand where we're at, what's going to happen, what we can anticipate. Obviously, because we're firearms owners, we're always going to plan for the worst, but hope for the best. Okay. So we're going to train, we're going to treat court like we're doing our training. We train for the worst case scenario, and we train that worst case scenario until we can't fail. And that's the whole goal here is we're going to sharpen our minds. We're going to change our mindset. We're going to fight forward, and we're going to make sure that we prepare ourselves in the event that this thing does go into effect, which in reality, it's not going to go into effect until at least after September. And so we have until now to then to get our houses in order. And so that would be, if I'm going to leave you with anything, that's what I want to leave you on. I want to leave you on support the attorneys that are doing the fight, Oregon Firearms Federation. Buy your magazines. Okay. Have your magazines in order. Okay. Make sure you have a good supply. Make your purchases now. Make sure they're going to an FFL that's going to support your rights and help you with the process, make it easy for you. And that's kind of where I'm at. All I can do is do what I'm doing, and I'm tired, and I don't see any end in sight in this. But I'm not going to go I'm not going to quit as long as you don't quit on me. We're in this together. So that's kind of where I'm at. So it's been a long day. Only winners today were the attorneys. Oregonians did not win today, no matter how you look at it. So only people that won were expert witnesses because they got paid a lot of money to present a certain part of the conversation, which is sad. So other than that, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. You know, if you like, comment, share. This is on my public page. If you guys want to share it from there, you guys can. That's what helps drive these algorithms. As much as they're trying to restrict my voice, you know, there's important information that people need to see, and just understand that, you know, this is just another skirmish in the saga. This is a saga. This is not going to end overnight, and I'm hoping that, you know, we can get it to a place where it's tolerable until we can get it thrown out. And so, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. So, you know, other than that, I'm going to get off here, you know, and let's see who's doing this. I don't have a name. So I'm going to have a request. Okay. So I have somebody in the comments. I don't see a comment, a name. So whoever posted this comment, can we talk about this comment? And I want to talk about this comment really quickly. Okay. It's something that I want to make sure that I'm very, very clear about. Okay. And I'm trying to see where the conversation, give me 1 second. I'm trying to find my thoughts here. I want to make sure. So who is this? I guess who's making this comment. I need to know so I can kind of directly address the conversation. And I'm not mad. I want to. Oh, hey, Alex. Okay, here's my deal. I want to have a challenge for you. Okay, I'm going to have a challenge for all my FFLs actually that are tuning in, watching this broadcast, that are following along. Okay, if you guys can afford to do it, let's figure out a way to do fundraisings for our attorneys. Okay, I want you guys to stay in business. I want you guys to be able to engage, but I also want you guys to get yourself in a position where you can give back. Okay, that's the thing. You know, it's really, really important now is the people that are making the money, that if they can afford to do it. Like we have, you know, plaintiffs yesterday that their livelihood is actually on the line because they are funding these lawsuits directly. Okay. And so that's why I showed them some love yesterday to give them that help that they need. And what I need from my smaller FFLs, if you guys can afford to do it, help us out and help out your neighbors by those sales. If there's if you have a good profit, put a little bit towards these legal bills. Okay. That'd be my challenge. Okay. Because I'm doing this for free. I'm not asking for a penny to do what I'm doing. I'm doing it because it's right. And I want you guys to make your money, but I also don't want you to forget about us, the people that are doing the work and fighting the fight. And I'm not asking for a penny. Okay, I had a guy that gave me some money today. I really appreciate it. I'm not trying to get emotional, but like we have to fund these lawsuits. We have to. And I'm trying not to get emotional. I'm frustrated because I've seen a lot of people that are in hard situations because of the economy and all this stuff. And I want to make sure that we're focusing on the right things. And focusing on the right things is you have a vested interest in this thing going away. And that's all I would say here is, you know, this takes me away from my family. This takes away from my organization. This I do this because it's something that's important to me, because like this is my role, and we can only do it together if we're all fighting forward and we're all fighting in the same direction, right? And so, you know, that's where I'm trying to, like, I got kind of emotional because it's kind of an emotional thing for me. Because I just want to win. You know, I don't want to lose, and I don't want anybody to get let down. I just definitely don't want people to lose their businesses. That's not what I'm trying to get at. But it's like we have to understand. We have to look at our priorities. What our priorities are, and our priorities really should be funding these lawsuits. And if we have Yeah, no, I thank you, Dwayne. I appreciate that. You know, and I'm trying to keep it together. It's just been a lot, and I signed up for it. I signed up for it, and I'm not regretting my decision. I just want to make sure that going forward is our people are doing the things that they should be doing. And I understand that our FFLs need to reinvest in inventory. I get all that, but if we can dedicate a small percentage to each purchase, that'll add up. That's my only request. You know, that's my only request. So other than that, I'm gonna get off here, and make sure that, you know, I hope this. I'm sorry if I got a little emotional. That's like it's just an emotional topic for me, just because I want everybody to do well, and I want people to chase their dreams, but I also want people to be able to help out. I guess that's where I'm getting at. That's where I'm getting at is, um, you know, absolutely, that's what we do. And so it just takes time. It takes resources, um, and that's what we should do is start. We should start, you know, figuring out. We got to figure out a way to generate. I mean, we started a pack. You know, I'm still trying to figure that process out. You know, there's literally no money coming in for what I'm doing, which it is what it is. It's just I got to get off here. I'm done. I said what I needed to say. I'm gonna suck it up and finish strong. And so action items, fund these lawsuits. You know, make these purchases locally from local gun stores that need your support. And continue to stay up to date and stay in this fight, because, you know, it's not over yet. It's not going to be over tomorrow, but we don't know what tomorrow holds. And so that's where I would go with this. So, you know, that's where I'm at. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. So I hope you guys had a great night, a great day, and I'll talk to you. I'll do another update and just kind of put my thoughts together after I eat, and we'll do it all again tomorrow. And so thanks for being here, and thanks for being a part of the situation, and we'll go from there. So you guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.